Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on the Flash movie. So of course, if we were in a timeline that, wasn't changed too long ago, we would only be about, 5.5 months or just under 6 months away from the release of this long-awaited and many times delayed Flash film. Now, of course, it was moved from November of this year to June of next year, and this was among a bunch of swaps and changes for release dates within the DC cinematic side of things. So it wasn't the only movie, so it doesn't mean that The Flash is an issue in regards to, what the movie ended up being once it finished filming. It actually seems to sort of be the opposite, as the reported test screenings for the movie so far that have gone on since the filming, ended for the film, have come back with pretty good ratings from the test audiences. So of course, there is a lot of time between now and the release date, over a year pretty much, so there's time for, reshoots or pickups if they need to do them. But I'm sure we'll hear more about that as we get closer and closer to the movie actually coming out and just the end of this year as a whole. Now, hopefully we do get a consistent release of information from now and, for the next year or so, as I sort of want to talk about this movie a bit more, as this movie is one that is on the top of my most anticipated list, with Black Adam probably being the other DC film up there, but that's the next DC film to come out. But I've held off on talking about the minor stuff that's come out with this film, just due to the fact that the whole, Ezra Miller's, drama has sort of been, I guess, putting a stain on this movie, though we don't really know the full story, as there are sort of contradictory reports on certain things. And I'm not keen still. I'm not going to speculate on things in such a deep way that we aren't too sure about, and we weren't there for the, the experience or know the full story. That can just end up being a one-way ticket to taking a massive L. But hopefully all this stuff with Ezra can be sorted out, whether it means that, this is the last time we see Ezra in the role if bad things did happen, or just proper care is taken where, everyone involved can move on with this franchise in a civil way. But, the drama is just a bit exhausting at this point. But anyway, onto the more positive side of things, if you want to put it. Now, we actually have some stuff from this Flash movie to talk about and discuss. So the Las Vegas licensing expo, I think that's what it was, that was going on this week, and there was a Warner Brothers booth and section within this expo, which had a bunch of things from upcoming projects from, Warner Brothers, but more specifically for this video, upcoming DC projects, and I guess even more specifically from The Flash. So there wasn't a ridiculous amount in regards to The Flash specifically, but it was still cool to get a closer look at things. But the things that were in more focus and grabbed the attention of people online for the most part were the better looks at two suits that will be used in the movie. Now, I don't think Michael Keaton's Batsuit or Ben Affleck's Batsuit were in attendance at this expo, but the Flash suit and the Supergirl suit were there, as you can see on screen right now. Now, these two suits, among the other suits in the movie, I would assume, were designed by Alexandra Byrne, who was recently heavily involved, I guess you could say, with the design of costumes in a bunch of Marvel Studios films, such as the first Thor film, the first two Avengers movies, Doctor Strange, and Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, if you thought the costumes were well done in those films, I would guess you're expecting the same on the Flash movie as well. Now, in regards to the Flash suit specifically, which we'll highlight or focus in on more right now, for the most part, I really, really like it. I liked what we'd seen in the sizzle reel and the footage that we had seen previously. For the most part, I like it. Now, it doesn't have like the lit up and like glowing lines, and I did see people complain about online that like it's too red, but that's because the yellowy orangey lines that we saw in the the footage and stuff like that, and in concept art, they're CGI and they're not there. So in the actual movie, I guess when he's running, or just maybe even just within the suit itself as a whole, those lines light up and they sort of divide the suit a bit more. Maybe there is a bit too many lines, like maybe it's a bit too much, but I think it's just a thing. We don't know what this suit is specifically in regards to like what it is specifically. We know that the Flash, or Barry, has a Flash ring, so we can assume the suit comes from the ring. But how specifically? Is it like a material? Is it made from the Speed Force? Like, there's a lot of questions that still need to be answered around what specifically the suit is, and that's maybe why it glows up so much, because it is actually harnessing the Speed Force energy itself to be an actual suit. But if I'm taking a guess, I think it's just tech. There was like the whole talk that originally towards the end of the Justice League movie, like, what do you call him? Bruce Wayne was meant to make Barry a suit, or like suggested he was going to make Barry a suit. So maybe at the beginning of the movie, Barry and Bruce are working together because, well, like they're a partnership, and Bruce made this suit for him. But also, we do know, thanks to behind the scenes photos, that there were photos of Ezra Miller in like a mocap suit or a motion capture suit. So I don't know if that's for the second Barry that we know is in the film, like I guess like the Flashpoint timeline Barry would call him, or there is just a time when the suit is completely CGI. So maybe when there was like a lot of movement, Ezra wears the CGI, like the mocap suit, because maybe this suit that we're seeing on screen right now that's on display doesn't move overly well. It's more just for like, posing or light work. Like, but if he actually has to like swing a punch or do anything overly dramatic, the suit's just not very good for it. So they use a mocap suit. Maybe that's how things play out. Now, my only real issue with the suit is the cowl. I just don't like it. And it's not just like the front with the face area, but also the back of it. Hopefully I have a picture of it. It probably isn't as good of a quality as the other photo. But the back of it just looks really big. It's like a xenomorph or something. It just looks really odd. Like it looks like a speed skater, which I understand that that's what they were going for, but it just looks really big. Now, one question I have is whether the area over the mouth maybe covers up when he runs. Like we know he has those like orange lenses that go over his eyes from the suit when it looks like he's gonna run. We saw that in, I think it was the scissor reel of all the upcoming DC films, or maybe it was even in the thing from Upfronts, not Upfronts, what do you call it, DC Fandom as well. So maybe his eyes get covered up with the lenses, so maybe his mouth gets covered up as well. It just looks like the material around the jaw, just like the way it's shaped, it almost looks like it's because it's opened up. Like it's a material that's meant to close and it opens up as well, and that's why it's weirdly shaped. I don't know, I'm just getting that feeling. Maybe that's just me trying to work around it not looking that great. But yeah, it just sort of looks that way. And I guess another like minor thing, which I would prefer if the boots were all completely gold, or at least maybe like the front bit where it looks like laces, maybe they could be red, but I would have prefer if like the other bits that are red were gold. Maybe that's just me, but also it looks a bit like weirdly placed. So it makes me think that it is like almost like a construct from the Flash ring. Maybe it's a bit inconsistent when it latches onto him or something like that. But yeah, I would prefer if the boots were completely gold, but it's like a minor nitpick. I'm pretty fine with them for the most part. Now, the one thing of interest that a lot of people caught their eye on was this thing on our right, but I guess it would be Barry's left wrist. So we're not too sure exactly what it is, but maybe it's like a navigation or like a tracking device of sort. But then it could also be like maybe like a high-tech sort of like smartwatch like device. So like it's actually just infused into his suit, which would lean into the more fact that this is just a suit made by Bruce Wayne or something like that with like high technology. And this would maybe allow Barry to have like info on the go, especially seeing that this is like a solo Barry without any other Flash family members, like a Kid Flash or anything like that in support of him, or just a team around him or anything like that. Like he doesn't have an Alfred like Bruce has. So Barry might be on his own. So maybe this like piece of tech helps him. It could even be like we see on the show, like the Flash show, where it's like he's Gideon, if you want to call it. Now, this was actually first seen in the preview to the comic book tie-in for this film. I think that was back in January or late December. But that was first seen there, and people weren't too sure what it was. But now we have it here, and it's just created more speculation because he doesn't have one on his other wrist. It's only on his left wrist, which is where you would wear like a watch or something like that. Well, if you were right-handed, you'd wear that on your left wrist, and let's just assume that Barry is right-handed. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that is when we get deeper and deeper into this film almost coming out or something like that. Maybe in one of the trailers we actually see what it is, but yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But onto the Supergirl suit, it's basic. And that's not a bad thing. It's basic. Now, we had seen Sasha Kaye, I think that's how you pronounce it, on set in the suit, and it just sort of looks the same from when we saw it on there. Just obviously a better quality look because we're closer. We're not, I guess, like 100 yards away like those photos were taken from. So yeah, just a better quality look like we're getting with the Flash suit. And yeah, I like it. I saw people saying that they didn't like the cape being as long as it is, but I sort of like that because when she flies, like the cape's gonna like, flow really well. If it was shorter, I'm not too sure. And I mean, once again, I saw people saying it might drag on the ground or something, but I'm like, she can fly, and I think she'd be flying for the most part. So I don't think it's too much of a worry. Now, Warner Brothers clearly has plans to use Supergirl going forward. I am very curious to see whether it is a solo project. We know that apparently she's going to be, I want to say we know, but apparently, like she's like a new member of this new Justice League within this, world, the DCEU. But in regards to a solo project, I guess it makes you wonder whether they'll wait until the Flash movie actually comes out and maybe see the response of the character and go, okay, people like her, let's greenlight either a series or most likely a movie. Or maybe they've already decided what they want to do and they're just going to wait to announce it until the movie actually comes out, because that will go hand in hand and just gives that announcement more of a spotlight while the movie is fresh in people's minds. They leave the movie and they go, hey, I really like that Supergirl character. And then Warner Bros. Is like, hey, you liked it? Well, she's getting a movie in a year and a half, so put it in your calendars. But speaking of calendars, when will we see more stuff from this movie? Now, it's hard to tell because of it being pushed back to June next year, over a year from now. Now, maybe we could get something when Shazam 2 hits theaters, which is around Christmas time. But then again, they have to also promote Aquaman 2 and possibly Batgirl, which could be moving to theaters rather than HBO Max. Aquaman 2 comes out in March, so that's about 3 months before The Flash. So maybe that's when you could get a trailer for it. I mean, as I said, Black Adam's the next movie to come out, and I think that's October. So, but the most promotion I would see in that or around that movie for another movie would be Shazam and maybe Batgirl, depending on when Batgirl comes out or if it's coming out in theaters. It's just a roll of the dice to correctly pick it, I think, as to when The Flash will start getting more promotion. However, it is clearly the most important movie that DC has coming out in the current slate, both in regards to how much they're spending on it, as well as the importance to this world that they're having on the cinema screen and in the theaters. So very important. So they'll want to promote this movie a good amount and also in a very high quality way to get people to go see it and commit to going to see it. So maybe that means we get, promotion for it earlier. But even then, I'd be very, very surprised if we got it before Shazam 2. If not even around like February or March next year is when they'll start really putting trailers out and everything like that. But yeah, guys, that's it to go over. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on these two suits that we got the better look at, and anything else, anything else you want to put forward. Is there anything in the suit that you're like, hey, I didn't like it that much? Or did you like something that I didn't like? Let me know just what you're thinking down there in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.